Hi guys, Adam here as per usual. Thanks for checking out the video. Eternal man flu and hay fever death very prominent, so bear with me. Just wanted to share a sort of new gear day that I got a couple of weeks ago. Sold off some stuff to fund this, was very poorly at the time and wanted something to cheer me up. G LAB GSC guitar system controller 4. Just wanted to give my first impressions, talk a little bit about this product. So this is it, the G LAB GSC 4 guitar system controller. What it essentially is a MIDI controller. The rig that I finished putting together, sort of at the back end of, or the third quarter of 2014 really, was an awesome rig, very versatile, but still had lots of switching to do kind of on the pedal board. What I've gone with the GSC 4, the reason the GS4 sort of really stood out to me, is that I'm going to be able to control my amp, perfect. My rack effects, perfect. And also the pedal board, because like a lot of units nowadays, it has a whole strip on the back of kind of ins and outs or loops, a true bypass loops if you like, as well as a tuner output and a sort of wah output or wah input if you're going to run the optional G LAB wah pad, I think it's called, which is a really cool touch sensitive wah controller. It's got expression pedal input, and the expression pedal can be assigned to do various different things per patch. 6 true bypass loops in, master out, tuner out, and these switch outputs as well. What I also liked on the side of the GSC 4 is that it has 6 9-volt DC outputs. That means that I'm going to be able to power my entire simple pedal board using this unit, so I don't need the Voodoo Lab Pedal Power 2 Plus or anything similar. All of these units, all of these outputs are not totally isolated. I believe they're in 2 banks of 3. They're 3 isolated from the other 3, which is okay. If I was using a lot of digital and a lot of analog effects and mixing and matching them, then it has the potential to get kind of noisy. Modulation effects can be very noisy as well. Everything's all analog on the pedal board, other than the guitar tuner, but that's gone through the tuner out. Everything's all analog, so we shouldn't run into any serious problems. We shouldn't run into any extra noise. If you are going to run part of your pedal board in the effects loop, you've got 3 9-volt DCs that you can use in front of the amp and 3 that you can use in the effects loop as well, just to keep noise to a minimum. Not the perfect sort of powering solution, but it's took the Voodoo Lab off my board, created a bit of space, and then everything really is in one place. On the front, we have all of these glorious buttons. These metal buttons feel really heavy duty and really sturdy. There is some sort of cheaper units that G LAB do. I think this was kicking about £400, which for something of this quality and something of this versatility, this type of product, £400 is a very, very good price to pay. It's not even reasonable, it's very good, it's very, very cheap for this type of product, in my opinion and in my experience. Some very basic MIDI controllers can cost about £300 to £400. This is a fairly advanced MIDI controller, and you know, it's going to run you about 400 quid. So these buttons are really, really reliable, really heavy duty, nice kind of soft touch with the springs in. I really like that. We've got a large kind of, let me get all of this, a large display screen here. It's really cool. I'll show you it plugged in a later video. And a little keypad up here for entering the details on the screen. Things that I don't like. This little keypad up here, it's a little bit of a ball ache using the QWERTY keyboard. It's not, you know, it's not a massive problem. I'm just kind of lazy. Maybe a touch screen would have been cool, but I certainly understand that would have increased the cost and also probably decreased the reliability. I mean, big fat chubby fingers like mine pressing on the screen probably isn't going to be the best, so I certainly understand why they've included that. The only other thing I don't like is the power supply, and we'll look at that in a later video. It's an external kind of power transformer unit, and it's got one of those sort of plugs that screws in, which is great. But then there's this really weird sort of connection bit that connects the transformer to the actual power cable that runs into the unit. And it just looks like a ball ache. It looks like if something in that breaks, it's going to be really fiddly to replace. I don't have it at hand, so I'll show you it in a later video. But that's really the only kind of major downside to this unit. However, the cable does seem very reliable. The power seems very stable. I'm sure it can be replaced reasonably cheaply. I like to have backups on hand, so I'm going to have to get in touch with G LAB and see if they sell backups, see if they can send me 1 or 2 over, because In the heat of battle, playing live or in the studio, the last thing you want is to be rooting around for a suitable transformer, and the cable, I'll show you the cable, but it's a bit of a ball ache. What I also forgot to say is that it has a great high quality buffer built into this as well, which can be switched in and out of each individual program and preset. Really cool. Very quickly tried the buffer out earlier on today, and it works great. It sounds fantastic, brings back a little bit of that sort of high-end sparkle. It's just a good buffer, to be honest with you. I'm probably going to find that I'm going to be running it on most of the time, unless I want it off because I'm going to run a fuzz or something like that. So yeah, really great. I had a quick play around sort of programming it. I've got it to control the rack very nicely. Couple of little quirks in some of the rack units, but that's not the fault of the GSC4. I'll be working on that, getting those ironed out, but it's very simple to program. It took me maybe 20 minutes, if that, to learn the basics of programming this unit. What I'm going to be doing in the near future is, as I build a rig, looking more into sort of some of the feature set and some of the cool things that the GSC4 can do, because there's not a lot of videos on YouTube about this unit or many of the G LAB MIDI controllers, to be honest, which I find surprising. I'll get working on those videos. I've got to put the rig together first. I need to wire it all up. It's probably going to take a couple of weeks because I'm time limited at the moment. I've never really been one who's interested in expression pedals, but seeing some of the things that you can control using expression pedals in this unit, I might have to get one, and I might just have to experiment. It's fitting it on the board that's going to be a problem. So we'll go down, we'll have a very quick look at the sort of board, the layout, roughly what I'm going to be running. So here we go, guys, just a very quick look at the pedal board. Nothing's wired up yet. Got a couple of new pedals, and we'll talk about those in a later video. But basically we're going to run into the sort of iron tone in-out box, and then we're going to run into the Crybaby War before we actually go into the G LAB. I think that's going to be the best bet for now. Maybe that will change. Then we're going to have the Chromatic Boss TU3 in the tuner out. And then we're going to have 5 of the loops working. So in loop 1, the first pedal in the chain, if you like, is going to be the iron tone crank combo. Loop 2, up in the top left, we're going to have the Amplified Nation Big Bloom Dumble in a Box pedal. Check out my recent video on that. Really cool. More to come on that. Then in loop 3, we're going to have the Mark L Jazzy Drive, which is a fantastic 808 type pedal. Something that I got reasonably recently as well, within the last 3 or 4 weeks. Phenomenal 808. Show you more about that in a later video. And then in loop 4, we're going to have the Exotic BB Preamp Mid Boost Edition. You guys know I love that. And then way back on the board, loop 5, the Arion SCH1 Stereo Chorus, mainly for those kind of Leslie sounds. That's what it's going to be used for. Back on the board, guys. Can't live without it. Alright, guys. Hope that you've enjoyed this video. Found it useful running through a couple of the features of the GSC4. Really great unit. I'll be back very soon with more information, more videos on this product, because it is awesome. And we'll see how it controls my rig. Thanks for checking out the videos as per usual, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Couldn't do this without you all. Take it easy. Ironside out.